Welcome, everyone. I am Jennessa Durrani, the Executive Director of IFMA Boston, and I would love to just start this discussion on my 5 keys to writing a winning submission, but just an overall discussion about this year's call for submissions for both FMForward 2021 and the 18th Annual Awards of Excellence. So if we could just do a quick, there's not a million of you here, so I think we could do a quick introduction of name, which organization you're from, what compelled you to come today, and what if there was only, what's your most burning question? If you could only have one thing answered today, what would that be? So why don't we start with Dawn?
Hi, I'm Dawn Borden, Facilities PM. I am the co-chair of FMForward, which is what has compelled me to be here today. And I'm super excited that you all potentially have some submissions. And the one question that I have is, how do we get more people to submit? So.
Awesome. All right, how about we go with Gerard? Here we go. Oh, no worries. Gerard is from Gale Associates, and he's having some technical issues, so we'll go on to Catherine. Oh, you're on mute, love.
Whoopsies. Hey guys, my name is Catherine. I work for Skanska. I was compelled to join today because I'm new to my role at Skanska, so I love that we had this webinar available, and I'm just looking overall to learn about the overall process and some of the things you look for in a winning submission.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Robin.
Hi, I'm Robin Peters. I'm the marketing director at Margot Architects, and it seems like it's a little different this year in terms of what you'll be evaluating, so I just wanted to get a better understanding of that for the submission.
Excellent. Sandy.
Hi, everyone. Sandy Kane. I'm the marketing manager at Ascentec. I'm curious just to see, what are next steps and what folks are looking for submissions. And I always think there's good ways of changing things up and making things better. So I'm looking forward to this.
Awesome. And then Ashley.
Hi everyone, my name is Ashley White. I am the campus and facilities planner at Babson College, and I'm also the VP of logistics on the IFMA Boston board. So there's actually someone I kind of want to nominate for an award this year, and I've never been a part of this process, even though I'm on the board, so wanted to kind of learn a little bit more. And I think my big questions are really like, what criteria validates a submission and what is everyone looking for?
Awesome. All right. It's always a little frightening if you asked a question that I don't know the answer and or would not be able to answer, but I can. Those are things that we're going to be today. So, and Gerard had said he's hoping to better understand the requirements for submissions as well as find ways to support the FM community. Perfect. We're going to do that. All right. So I do have an hour slated, but I really think I'll be able to give you back some time. Famous last words. We'll see. So some objectives and we try to have learning objectives for all of our programming. So today I want you to understand, to Robin's point, that this process is not the same as it has been in the past. It is the same as it was last year, but if you did not submit last year, this is completely new. So I want you to understand what we're looking for, just on the concept of what are the possible things that you can submit for, also how to submit them, and then if you're going to be submitting anyway, my 5 keys to writing a winning submission, and then we'll just have some time for question and answers if there's anything at the end of this that was not covered. And all the way through this, feel welcome to keep yourself off mute and ask questions as we go. This is a small group. This does not need to be cumbersome in that way. This year, FMForward, which is our one day, typically, well, I shouldn't say this. This will be our third year and there'll be our second year virtual. So it's actually a virtual conference that maybe someday will be live again. Our FMForward is our annual conference, and it is going to take place the week of March 29th. We, depending on how many submissions that we get and the tracks that we're able to fill and the tours that we're able to do either virtually or live, will determine what that schedule will look like that week, but that is the week of the conference. This last year, we did every day from, I think it was like 11 to 1, or it was 11:30 to 2, I can't remember. In any case, it was over the lunch hour for 4 days. And in that week, we also are doing our 18th annual Awards of Excellence, and that will be its own event within that same week. Also, to be noted, right now, if you've seen everything in the actual call for nominations, it's call for submissions, is everything says December 18th. We met just prior to this call, and it is going to be January 22nd. So you have time. We don't have to kill yourself between now and the holidays. We're going to give you some time into the new year. So just note, it's January 22nd and not December 18th. And I will be putting that out on social and through our website and so forth. So FMForward, a few of you I know have attended, but those who have not, it is our annual conference, and our whole goal of FMForward is that it is putting first on the award side our FMs first and really focusing on the contributions and celebrating them as in their profession, but also FMForward as a conference is what is next for FM. What do our members need to know to navigate the ever-changing FM landscape? So it's really not about what we did back 5 years ago and just another way of implementing the same, but more about what technology is being used, where different paradigm shifts as far as different ideas of taking the FM and how they're navigating, how they are managing their facilities in a much more efficient manner. So the conference will include the Awards of Excellence, and that's where we will have our keynote speaker. It will have 2 facility management intensive tracks. So those, if you've been to World Workplace, which is our international organization, they always have different topic tracks. So this will be our first year of doing tracks. So we have on the facility management side, a technology track and a COVID-19 track. And so any project that a project or initiative that you're wanting to submit falls into one of those 2 categories. If you're only nominating something for an award in that track portion, and I'll show you this on the form, there's an other, so you can just click other. This is most specifically for the submissions for talks. There are 2 professional development intensive tracks. So we're looking for speakers who can talk around the idea of leadership and how leadership can affect, leadership skills that our FMs and all of our members can do in career advancement. And then also human factors. So human factors can take 2 forms. Human factors could be human factors within the workplace, as far as think of well certification, change management, amenities, this whole piece about working from home and all of the things around that of keeping our employees engaged, how we're able to pivot, It's also opportunities for talks around work-life balance, and some of more of the softer topics could fall into that category. We are then looking for submissions for facility tours. And I know that, you know, life is weird and we can't really go out in the world right now, but we're looking for facility tours that might lend themselves to being in a virtual setting. So something that would be perhaps live, we have a live presenter who walks us through a facility, or is it something that has been pre-recorded and we show it that week? And or are there opportunities for something that would be live that we could do in a small group or in shifts, or is it outside? Is it in some fashion that we would love in that week to bring our attendees together in a live situation in some fashion. So we're looking for everyone to really think about, nothing is off the table. Everything is possible. We're totally open to different ideas that folks might have on how we can engage the FM and our members through this week that gives them something of value. Then things that we'll be doing outside of the concept of the tracks and so forth, the things that we're looking at for submissions, is that we do hope to have, you know, is it warm enough that week that we might be able to do a pop-up on a patio somewhere and so forth. Again, it is the last week of March, first week of April. It's possible. We want to do FMForward overtime. So we want to have an opportunity, like if you were to give a talk, that we would then invite our FM members, end user members, to stay for half an hour after to talk about their experiences on whatever topic that you're speaking about, and give them an opportunity to do an information share and peer networking. And then we also want to do a few balance breaks, a balance break each day that might be, you know, 15 minutes of yoga, or 15 minutes of an art activity, 15 minutes of, you know, breathing exercises, something that's a little bit different. If any of you have attended a virtual conference in this time, it's hard to stay engaged for more than 90 minutes, and to hop off and then hop back on, it's a lot. It's not the same. You don't have that energy. It's tiring to go to a conference live, but it is tiring in its own different way when you're doing a conference online. So we're trying to use the experience that we had from last year and kind of spice it up to help our attendees kind of be able to keep motivated throughout the time. Okay, so that is the overarching program that we have. So we have Awards of Excellence and the conference, and we have one call for submissions, and you have 3 ways to share. So on one form, you're filling out, I've decided I am going to submit for XYZ project, and on the submission, you can just click 3 boxes, all of them, or just one of them. You decide on, and as far as I'm concerned, it hurts you not to click all 3 boxes. You never know what we might have gotten, and that might not make sense because we have, you know, another submission in that category already, but it gives us an opportunity to kind of slice and dice and fit it where it makes most sense to get it in front of our members for that week. So far, any questions? And you can feel free to use the chat too, if you would prefer. Okay, as I noted, and let me just reference back again to, I don't want to spend so much time on how it used to be, but awards for years were a lot of, it was all new construction. And I say new construction, some of it was renovated. It wasn't new, but it was all around construction. Contractors, architects, OPMs, furniture companies, some engineers would submit their client's project, and it was a lot of pretty pictures and a lot of and not a lot of variety. Variety in the fact that it was a lot of, it was, some of them were institutional and some of them were corporate and so forth, but it was new construction, new construction, new construction, new construction. And it was hard because there was not the focus. It was very difficult to get people to think about this as a facility management award and not a design award. And so our FMs were just not really being showcased. And that is how our new way of doing things was born, in the fact that we want to focus on their innovation. And some of their innovation seems really unsexy, not so photogenic, but absolutely is what our membership is looking for. So we are asking all of our submitters to think about the innovation that their clients have seen and or you have helped them implement. And it does not need, it absolutely can be new construction, don't get me wrong, but that is only one piece of what we're looking for. So have you recently digitized your FM? And I say you, I know most everyone on the call is from the vendor side, so it would be from on the client side. Have they successfully returned to the workplace amidst the pandemic, and what went into that, and what hurdles did they overcome? A lot of companies are not back to the workplace, so a company who is and was able to do that safely, attestations, different security measures, different amenities, and so forth, we want to understand that. Have they implemented new technology within the workplace? Have they implemented a new way of working? Obviously, we've all had to be like sent home and so forth. How has that worked differently maybe than another company? Have they used innovation in a different way? Have they embarked on a comprehensive change management initiative? Have they implemented energy savings or sustainable practices? Have they recently completed new construction that had a positive impact on the facility management of the workplace? So think about what the implementation of that new space, how does it make the facility manager's job easier, better, more recognized, and so forth? And just in general, what experience do you have and or your clients have that they could share with their peers? That's what we're looking for. It does not have to be, gone are the days of like, if it wasn't, we used to have the small, medium, and large, like, if it was 10,000 square feet or less, 50,000 square feet or less, or, 51,000 square feet or more, it was a small, medium, and large, and a sustainability. Now, we don't even have award. We pick the awards based on what we have received. So it isn't a category that you are applying for any longer. So we're looking for familiar faces. So we're looking for people from our industry, from our neighborhood and community, so to speak, to share their experience and their real life, like what really happens. So as a vendor, we're looking for partnerships. You and your FM clients, what did you work hand in hand to implement in new life technology, processes, ideas, accomplishments? Again, it does not have to be a full round project. You submit one form, and all it is 3 questions. We'll get to that. And then you can click the box for, we'd like this to be considered for an award of excellence. We would like to be considered for a 1-hour intensive, and this is which category it falls into, or we would like to have this considered for a facility tour, and you can note if it would be best suited for virtual or something in a live in small groups. All with one form. The process is simple. I say one form in the call for submissions, there is a click box for, there's a form for all the FM intensives. So that's the awards, the COVID and technology, and the virtual tours. There's a special link for a form for the leadership and human factors. So that's on a separate form. So far, is everyone with me?
Yep.
Okay, great. So understanding the requirements. Every submittal, it does not matter any FM intensive submittal, awards, COVID technology, or facility tour must include a co-presenter as an FM. And even if you're submitting just for an award, it must cite the facility manager who worked on that project. Our individual award winners for facility management come from these submittals. So the winner, so to speak, of any award is really the facility manager. And so the project wins and the individual facility manager wins. So everything needs to have a facility manager attached to it. In past years, we have only taken submittals for both talks and for awards in the year that we are in. So for this, it would typically have been only projects completed in 2020, but it's a weird year. Not as many things were implemented. So we have changed it to be anything completed in 2019 or 2020, just not submitting the same thing that you've submitted in the past. It must align with at least one of the 11 core competencies, which I can't even think of something that you would submit that doesn't fall into one of these: communications, emergency preparedness, environmental stewardship and sustainability, finance, leadership, so on and so forth. That is also on the form. It's just a click box on, and it can align with several, but it helps us understand kind of the angle that you feel that your submittal would be, because that helps us in keeping everything balanced. We don't want everything to fall into sustainability, and that's all we're presenting.
Jennessa, I just had a quick question.
Sure.
On the completion dates. So for our Brigham and Women's Hospital project, the phase 1 is complete. So they secured the certificate of occupancy last month, and now the emergency department is open with patients, but we're moving into phase 2 where they're going to demolish the existing emergency department. Would that count as a completed project? Or
as long as you're just writing up the part that is completed, yes. And then that also leaves you open for doing subsequent phases in a submittal for next year. So I would just,
perfect.
as long as it's written around that, and you can note that, additional ones will be, but we're then just looking at that project as kind of its own standalone.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Excellent.
I have a quick question before I hop off for my meeting.
Sure.
I'm sorry, I have to head out. Just looking at this form, what if, so the reason I'm on and for submitting is for COVID back to work, basically. But would that be the project, there wasn't really a project name for that, I guess, is what I'm saying.
You make it your own. You would
Okay.
you would name it your own project. And so you could give it whatever you want, and then it would fall into innovation outside of construction, COVID-19. If it's for you guys, it would be academic, so on and so forth.
My boss.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Cool. I'm sorry I had to hop off. Thank you.
No, that's fine. Thanks for being here.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
So when you are in your call for submissions, there is a link for, to submit. It will bring you to this form. And this is the top part. This is the detail portion. So just as Ashley was saying, you give the name of the project. It is whatever you name it. It is either new construction or renovation. So that's again what I was saying. It's either it was a construction project, or it is innovation outside of construction. That being automation, new security, energy savings, change management. All of those things fall into innovation outside of construction. And then which track does it go in? Is it related to COVID-19? Is it related to technology? And this is where I said, you can put other, because we still want to know what all the awesome things you're doing. And this is an organic program and so forth. So nothing is off the table. Then which sector did it come from? Corporate, institutional, healthcare, biotech, and academic. And when it was completed. And this is then where you can say all the things that you want it to be considered for. I didn't do the rest of the form because I'm going to talk about it. The rest of the form is the questions that you have to answer, and then just the name of the FM, and then the name of you, or whoever would be co-presenting or is nominating. So there are, again, if you have submitted in the past, it was only, I think we had like 5 questions, and each of them had a 300-word minimum. So it was like 1,500 words between you and a possible award. We've made it even simpler. It is 3 questions. And if you can't answer these questions, it's just not enough to be considered. So this is kind of your test to see if you can answer these 3 questions with gusto, then you've got a good nomination on your hand. So first, what was the challenge? What did the client come to you with? If you are the organization, what is it that you were up against? What were you facing? And what were the repercussions to the organization? What was the pain? And what was the measurable problem? Then we want, FMForward is all about the partnership. We know that this is not all about the vendors and not all about the client. It is that partnership between the 2 of them. That is the jam. That is where all of the good stuff happens. And that's what we want to understand. How did the 2 of you or multiple work to face this challenge and overcome it? And what innovations were utilized, and what role did each team member play? Like, how did it happen? And again, we'll get to that. Never mind. That's what we want to know. And then what was the impact? Like, not only did you solve it, but now what were they able to achieve? Is it cost savings? Was it more employee engagement, more employee productivity, better wellness? We were able to get LEED certified. What was the impact for the stakeholders, so to speak, within the project? And then I will be uploading, and I can send this to all the attendees, but I will also be sending this everywhere. You can get to the form right here. So this is that form that I was just referencing. It's in the call for submissions, but it's here as well. Any questions so far? I trust you're going to interrupt me if they need me. For the professional development submittals, and we would love for you guys to think, even though you come from the project side and not come from, probably don't have folks that are motivational speakers within your, or at least you don't think they are. I think that there's a lot of topics around human factors and leadership that our members and associate and professional members could provide. And these are great opportunities if you could think of like, oh, this would be a great panel, us and blah, 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 blah. And we could talk about, you know, leadership within the organization, leadership in the time of a pandemic. How did we, you know, nothing is off the table. So this submittal is even easier. So we ask for a description of what you think this would be. And it doesn't have to have all the answers. It's like, it's a pitch. Give us a pitch of what you think that this talk could be. We need 3 to 5 learning objectives. And ignore the impact, because that is just, I copied this slide and didn't delete that one. All we need to know is the description and the learning objectives. I'll take out the impact when I send this off. And this is the link to that form for the professional development submittals. Here are some frequently asked questions, and then we'll get to your questions after my next part. Back in the day, we asked for 5 photos. Photography is not required. If we get to the place of nomination awards and so forth, and we need photography, we'll come back to you, and there is not a need for professional photography. So no photos are needed. There's no cost to nominating a project. Currently, it used to be that only our members could nominate projects. We are now, it is open because it's a conference. So there is not a requirement for membership. Do I think that membership is taken into consideration? Probably, but currently it is not a requirement. You can submit as many projects or initiatives talks as you would like. You can indicate again which categories you'd like to submit in, 1 or all 3. Again, we are going to, they will be due on the 22nd. This will be our only extension. Usually we extend and then we might extend one more time. We're giving you the big extension for the month right now. No ifs, ands, or buts. January 22nd is the final day. And we hope to review the submittals kind of as they come. And the submittals for FMForward will be determined by the end of January. Awards are then reviewed by a different panel. And we've done it 2 ways now. We've done it where everyone that nominated, we noted the nominators, and then you didn't learn who won until the day of. And this last year, we picked the winners from the original list, and they were done ahead of time and so forth. So it depends on the factors of what we get for submittals, for awards and so forth, on if those will be announced ahead of time or not. All right. These are my 5 keys to writing a winning submission. I have read a million of these. So this is my words of wisdom for you. To make this, it is not a hard process, but like anything, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it really well and have the best outcome. Number 1, answer the question. Do not submit pre-written marketing materials. Everyone has like, this project was completed and this is what we have on our one sheet wonder for that project and so forth. It's not the same information. We want you to customize your response to the question asked. It is the problem, the challenge, the solution, the impact. Also, do not write about finishes, the aesthetic features, unless they directly relate to the challenge, solution, and the impact. Again, this is a facility map. Now, if the project was, you know, a new standards program that made implementing implementing new facilities worldwide so much quicker, faster, cheaper than finishes 100% makes sense. If it's just like, oh, look at how beautiful this space is, that is not something that our FM panel, it's just not as, they don't care. It's amazing though, every one of our projects that has ever won is gorgeous. Like it's when it's a new construction project, but in any case. Number 2, less is more. We do not currently have a word limit on outside, like I said before, it used to be 300 words and so forth. We don't have a word limit, but we want you to be respectful to our review panels. They have a lot of these to read, and we just need the most amount of information in the least amount of words possible. If you're selected for either a talk or an award, we can talk further on what all of those fine details are and so forth. So pull out the salient points that are going to be most interesting to our review panel of FMs. So there are 5 folks that sit on that panel, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they're seasoned FMs, and they're all about business. They want that meat and potatoes of facility management. Number 3, can it be measured? If so, that is of interest. So doesn't matter if it's new construction or if it's innovation outside of construction, there are measurable impacts that it can be made. Is there square footage reduction, energy cost reduction? Have they been able to increase what they're recycling? Have the work order fulfillment has been increased because everything is automated? Have they decreased their carbon footprint? So on and so forth. They, to be able to say they saved $50,000 in energy this year is much more impactful than they saw measurable energy savings. Numbers are what they're looking for. 4, I've said this like 3 times, so should be already apparent. This is a facility management award, not a design award. So keep all the facts and so forth based on facility management. For example, the impacts on productivity, monitoring, security, operations and maintenance, automation, managing third-party, outsourcing, insourcing, energy savings, I've said a million times, change management, alternative work, hoteling, hot desking, all of those are hot topics for our facility managers. And I've also said this, we want you to lead with your facility manager. In the past, it has been very much whatever vendor has submitted, it's all about what they did. And for this, it doesn't diminish what you did, but it's going to be a much better submission if you can show what your client did, or if you are the facility manager, what you did. So we want you to shine a light on their efforts. How did you work as an integrated teams? How did you share responsibility? What contributions did they make that made the project a success? How long have you worked as a team? You can include a testimonial from them, like how did this project then help propel their role within the company and so forth. Those are my 5 keys. All right. 45 minutes. I could fill an hour. I could fill like 2 hours talking about this. Other questions that I didn't address as we were going through?
Jennessa, I had a quick question for you.
Sure.
So, and this can be, if it's, you can be totally honest. I just had a question from a colleague, Mike, who works in on our VDC team. And they had done a panel recently regarding their work they've done in Rwanda for the UGHE hospital, and that's in Rwanda. So they deployed Autodesk BIM 360 for the medical school in Rwanda. So would this be a project or panel that would be eligible? And you can be totally honest, because
No, absolutely. There's no boundaries. There's no so again, I don't know about you, that's piqued my interest. That's interesting. Like if you can get BIM in Rwanda, what could you do here? So that is, and that's the kind of thing, like people want something new and different. So absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure.
Hi, Jennessa. I have a question about the completion dates of the projects. I was just thinking when you were talking that a lot of projects completed in 2019, they may have just sat empty for a year or so while folks were working from home. Would it be acceptable, do you think, to have something that was completed a little bit earlier, maybe 2018, so that they would have had some data from 2019 when people were in the building?
I mean, you could still submit it, but I just, it'll depend on the situation. We've already gone back 1 year and so forth. Right. So it's, but yeah, if something got, look at this,
if I could,
unbelievable. Go ahead, Dawn.
I think if you can spin it to be meaty enough, as the feeling of the completion of the project was 2019 because of how it impacted the people who were there, that might help. Now, I'm not on the submissions committee. I can't tell you that it's going to push you over the edge, but that's my suggestion of how to help it.
And that's where, if you feel very compelled about a project that was completed, and then it can tell a story, or in 2019, they were able to make all of the, it was completed in this time, but then from completion through 2019, they were able to evolve it in this way. Absolutely.
Yeah. So sort of craft the story around the implementation and how people were using the space, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Okay. And I don't want it, like, I don't want the completion date to be the, an arbitrary cutoff on something that you feel strongly about presenting. So
got it.
So it's 3 questions, not a lot of work. So go ahead and submit it.
Got it. This is so great, by the way. I really appreciate you doing this. It was so helpful.
Not a problem. Let's see. I have one. This chart. Excellent. Robin, any questions from you?
No, everything's been answered. I appreciate it.
Awesome. And like I said, this will go up today. I will be sending it out as well, but I'll send you guys, all the attendees or everyone who registered, I will send a direct link and so forth. Then I'll also be sending, and it'll be on our YouTube page and so forth. So, and I will be updating the call so that it'll say January 22nd. And all the way along, if you have any questions, easy peasy. And for those that are watching, if any of our facility managers are listening and so forth, I am happy to do an interview for 15 minutes with folks and help them craft their responses as well. So we want to make this, and that was to answer Dawn's question, is how can we're trying to make this so flippin' easy that it opens up, I think so many awards programs and calls have so many hoops and things that you have to jump through that it just seems, just the idea of it sounds daunting. And we're trying to make this not that, so that way people make it much more accessible, because I think a lot of people have things to say. They just don't have the time to tell us what it is they have to say. So excellent. All right. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Appreciate it. Bye.